Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 55th Annual St. Paul Police Law Enforcement Memorial Day Service. Please stand for the presentation of the colors. Detail! Present! Arch! Detail! Order! Up! Honor guard, left wheel, mark. Honor guard, halt. Right, face. Forward, mark. Thank you. Also, thank you to Chad Green and the St. Paul Police Band. It is my honor and privilege to welcome all of you to the 55th St. Paul Police Law Enforcement Memorial Service. My name is Steve Anderson, and I'm a Senior Commander of the Western District of the St. Paul Police Department. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed a bill into law proclaiming May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, the calendar week of each year during which May 15th occurs as Police Week. This annual service, in conjunction with local, state, and federal law enforcement, recognizing the officers who sacrificed themselves and died in the line of duty. At this time, we'd like to extend a special welcome to the families of the St. Paul police officers who've died in the line of duty. At this time, with those members present, please stand if you're able as we read the names of those who are in attendance. Family of Daniel O'Connell, family of Albert Coonan, family of Kelbert Needham, family of Alfred Sandquist, family of John O'Brien, family of Gerald Vick, family of James Sackett, family of Ron Ryan, family of Joshua Lino, family of Alan Lee, family of John Larson, family of Tim Jones, and I apologize if there's any other families who are in attendance that I did not recognize. If you could stand at this time. Thank you. Be seated. Today, our keynote speaker will be the Honorable Kathleen Guerin. Also speaking today will be our Mayor, Chris Coleman, from our St. Paul Police Department, our Chief, Todd Axtell, from our Chaplain Program, Pat McCorkle. Also honored guests that will be up in front of me today, besides our command staff, Assistant Chief Murdaria Arredondo and Deputy Chief Bruce Folkens. Behind me, we also have our distinguished City Council. From Ward 1, Dai Tao, Ward 2, Rebecca Naker, Ward 3, Chris Colbert, Ward 4, Council President Russ Stark, Ward 5, Amy Brunmoen, Ward 6, retired St. Paul Sergeant Dan Bostrom, and from Ward 7, Jane Prince. I would also like to, at this time, acknowledge all the entities that are in the room from all the law enforcement agencies, both federal, state, and local, as well as all of our other partners. Before we continue and move into the invocation, I received a letter from Councilwoman Betty McCollum, who is regrettably not here today, and the letter in part speaks of the high standards that the St. Paul Police Department and law enforcement in general have, and I'd like to read a short excerpt of what she had written in lieu of her being here. She writes, "Every day in the job of men and women, it's a job of men and women in law enforcement to put their lives on the line to keep the community safe. Too often the risks you bear daily go unnoticed and are underappreciated. At times like this, it is important that we offer our thanks for you and for the service and sacrifice you make every day, as well as the family and the family members and loved ones who did not necessarily choose this profession." She wanted to honor us, and she apologizes for not being here. At this time, I'd like to introduce Patrick McCorkle. He's a St. Paul Police Chaplain for over 6 years. He is the director of the Jesuit Retreat House in Lake Elmo and has been a priest for over 43 years. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Chaplain McCorkle.
Before we begin the rituals of our memories, it's helpful to take a moment to call to mind why we are here and what we are doing. That we're here to remember brave, noble men and women who have given their life in the service of the community. But in that remembering, we also are asking God to redeem our memory so that we can move from sorrow to gratitude. We can move from a sense of loss to preservation of ideals. We can pass from the loneliness of absence to a solidarity among those who share their dreams. We come here to learn something of the mystery that is expressed by this saying from the prayers in the church. Life is changed, not ended. So let us pray. Lord God, I ask you please to send your Spirit upon our gathering, to touch us in mind and heart, to help us to claim and own the ideals that were demonstrated by the people we remember today. Let us share something of their dedication to the service of the community and to the preservation of order. Please grant to each of us a desire and the skills needed to be peacemakers and healers of the community. Bless us, Lord, in our gathering, and renew us in spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Chuck. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the 45th Mayor of the City of St. Paul, Chris Coleman. Chris Coleman took office as the St. Paul Mayor in 2006 after several stints as councilperson, community organizer, and neighborhood leader. These efforts and initiatives are all accomplished through sound fiscal management in mind and guided by a passion for the City of St. Paul. Mayor Coleman has set forth initiatives to make St. Paul the most livable city in America. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Chris Coleman.
Thank you, Commander. Thank you so much. Thank you for gathering with us today. The rain outside can't dampen our emotions, can't dampen our remembrances, and our honoring the officers that have fallen in the City of St. Paul's history. To Chief Axtell, members of the St. Paul Police Department, members of the City Council, and distinguished members of our community, I want to thank you. For 12 years as mayor, I have had an opportunity to attend this ceremony. For 6 years as council member prior to that. And in those 18 years, the names of the 30-plus officers that have fallen in the line of duty in the City of St. Paul have almost been burned into the memory of many of us. O'Connell and Hanson, to Ryan and Jones and Vic and Lino. But all of those officers who we remember today and all those names that are read are not just names, they're not just distant memories. They continue to live in the hearts of all of us in this community because we know the sacrifice that they have made on behalf of the people of the City of St. Paul. We understand that their bravery and their willingness to jump in to the fray when others don't have that courage is the difference between us being the kind of community that the City of St. Paul is and a community that reigns in chaos. And so it's important that we remember those officers as members of our community that are as much a presence of ours in the City of St. Paul today as they were even at the time of their death. And I think it's particularly fitting that this year, as we remember the names of the fallen, we remember that the first officer to fall in the line of duty was Daniel O'Connell. And it is not, I think, a coincidence that this year we recognized as Officer of the Year a great-grandson of Daniel O'Connell and John Sherwood. If anything speaks to the tradition of the St. Paul Police Department, more than that fact, I don't know what it could possibly be. To be a member of the St. Paul Police Department is a calling. To be a member of the St. Paul Police Department is to be a part of this community. It is about service, it is about sacrifice, it is about duty, and it is about honor for this community and for this country. As we remember the more than 30 officers that have fallen in the line of duty, let us also pledge to do everything that we can to make sure that our officers are safe when they go to work in the morning, so that they can return home at night to their families. Too many of you in the audience tonight know the pain and the agony of getting that phone call, of getting the knock on the door, of knowing that your loved one won't come home. No family should ever have to experience that. When we devote resources, when we devote hours of training, when we devote all the work together to protect our officers, then we truly honor the memory of those that have fallen, to say never again. I want to thank you for the honor and privilege of being a part of this ceremony for most of the last 18 years. It has been truly an honor and a privilege, and I thank you to all who served, To all who serve in uniform, to the family members that serve alongside of you, I say thank you for your sacrifice, for your courage, and for making St. Paul the most livable city in America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Todd Axtell has been honored to be a police officer of the City of St. Paul for over 27 years. He has risen through the ranks of the St. Paul Police Department and has served in all assignments from patrol, investigation, to administration. Chief Axtell is the St. Paul's 41st Chief of Police, and he was appointed by Mayor Coleman in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Todd Axtell.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here today. It's great to see everyone show up and honor the sacrifices of the women and men of the St. Paul Police Department and all law enforcement agencies that are here today, whether you're wearing blue, brown, white, maroon. We're all in this together, and that's part of what today is all about. People across the country this week are here to gather and honor law enforcement officers who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Here in St. Paul, we have lost 32 officers who have been killed since 1854. They were husbands, fathers, brothers, sons, and best friends. And they were our brothers in blue for sure. Many of their family members are here today, and I want to personally thank each and every one of you for joining us as we ensure that your loved ones will never be forgotten in the city of St. Paul. And we will always be remembered, they will always be remembered for their heart, for their commitment, and for what they have given our community and the St. Paul Police Department. We all know that taking the oath when we become police officers come with many, many inherent risks. Officers must be courageous in the face of danger. They must care for those who cannot take care of themselves. And they must be calm when tragedy strikes. This we absolutely know. We also know that it takes a special person who is willing to accept those risks that come with the job. As we honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, some we were privileged enough to know, some we had the opportunity to work with and learn from, and some we've only heard stories. And I promise you that all of them were heroes. And as I think about the 32 officers who have died while protecting others in this great city, I also think about the brave women and men who are knowing the risks and challenges of our profession as they continue to proudly and willingly wear the uniform each and every day. They encounter situations and circumstances that the average person cannot and will not comprehend. Yet they remain committed to serving and delivering trusted service with respect, without exception. I know we have the finest officers in the country, and I know they deserve our gratitude, not just this week, but every day of every week of the year. Because the best way to honor those who have died while in the line of duty, the best way to keep their legacies alive, is to do the job the right way, which is what they did. They cared for one another and for their community. They supported one another and served with dignity and respect. And they stood tall in the face of adversity. So as we pause today to remember those who have fallen, let's also continue to care for their families, support the women and men who serve, stay true to the legacy of excellence of all of our fallen officers, wherever they've fallen. And to all of our family members present today, please know that each member of our department and our community are here to pay tribute to you. We stand together to honor the officers who have sacrificed their lives and the enduring sacrifice you have all made since that tragic moment. To the officers who are here today, thank you for all you do. And the members of our community who are here today, know that we appreciate your support, and we will continue to do everything we possibly can to keep this community safe. We will never forget the trust you have bestowed upon us, and we will always remember those who have given their lives to our community. Thank you very much. So now I have a very special honor of presenting some memorial ribbons to the Minneapolis Police Department. I have today Assistant Chief Rondo Arredondo, Deputy Chief Brew Falcons. Will you please join me up here? Let's give them a round of applause. This is a special moment. This year we lost retired officer Tim Bradley, who many of us, most of us in this room know as a person who served with dignity and respect, and he was a man with many ideas. And he was always committed to making sure that we remember the women and men of law enforcement in general. One of Tim's last ideas, and he had many, one of his last ideas was to make sure that Minneapolis Police Department had honor ribbons like we do in some other agencies throughout the region, and the St. Paul Police Department has a ribbon made out of the uniform pants that we all wear with the badge number and the shield of the officer that died in the line of duty. Minneapolis tragically has lost 50 officers in the line of duty in the history of their department. So Tim went to Linda Schwartzbauer, who embroiders and makes items throughout the region, with this idea. And after the idea happened, Tim tragically died due to illness. So Chief Paul Schnell had an interaction with Linda, and Linda talked to Chief Schnell about this idea that never came to fruition. So Chief Schnell called me and we said, let's get it done. With a lot of help, we got it done, and today I have the unbelievable honor of fulfilling Tim Bradley's dying wish to get this done. So it's an honor to present the Minneapolis Police Department with the honor ribbons.
On behalf of Chief Harteau of the Minneapolis Police Department, I want to extend our deepest gratitude and thanks first to Chief Axtell and Mayor Coleman of the City of St. Paul for allowing us to share this space with you this afternoon. I am joined by Deputy Chief Bruce Falcons. We also have Deputy Chief Travis Clampy, also our command staff, and our Minneapolis Police Honor Guard are here today, and we're very, very humbled and very honored to be here. This afternoon, we are here today, and from an enormous, incredible gift of kindness that Officer Tim Bradley had thought about, it all really permeated from a simple act of kindness which he was thinking about. To the family members of St. Paul's fallen heroes, I want to just say to you that even though a river may separate us, we are connected also by the grief and anguish that is caused when we have lost our fallen heroes as well. And you will always remain in our hearts and in our prayers and in our thoughts. Sadly enough, we know what that feeling is like to lose those men and women who have meant so much to us and so much to our communities. While we're here also with local, state, and federal law enforcement officers, I have to tell you I'm very humbled to look out at this sea of St. Paul blue And I know that in our department's history, there's oftentimes been competition and who's the best law enforcement agency across the river. But I'm here to set the record straight today. The St. Paul Police Department is truly one of the finest police departments in the nation. And it's not because of all the professional things that you've been trained to do, but it is really based upon three things: your heart, your courage, and your commitment. And that is what separates the St. Paul Police Department from any other in the nation. And I want to tell you on behalf of the Minneapolis Police Department, we are proud to be partners and teammates with one of the finest police departments in the nation. This is truly going to be a tribute and a memorial for those Minneapolis heroes that gave the ultimate sacrifice. We are going to have this as a forever, as a reminder, just as you do in St. Paul, that we are going to make sure that their memories and their legacy and their service will never be forgotten. Again, we want to thank you for welcoming us into this space, and I'll just close by saying, blessed truly are the peacemakers. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you. Our keynote speaker today is the Honorable Kathleen Guerin. Kathleen Guerin served with distinction on the Ramsey County District Judge for 26 years. She is widely known for assuring essential government services during the 2008 government shutdown. While also serving on the bench, she's presided over countless areas of judicial process to include civil, criminal, product liability, malpractice, environmental issues, and business litigation. Judge Guerin also has presided over some very high-profile criminal cases that have impacted the lives of the officers in this room and has touched very close to the heart of many of us in the St. Paul Police family. She's truly a friend of the St. Paul Police Department. She is currently a member of the Judicial Arbitration Mediation Services in St. Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Kathleen Guerin.
Thank you, Commander. I also serve occasionally as a senior judge. I can now anywhere in the state. They called me out of, not mothballs yet, but I actually am sitting as a judge in Ramsey County today. It's an honor to be asked to speak here today. When I got the invitation, I asked myself, how can we honor these officers who made the ultimate sacrifice for their community? It's especially an honor today at a time when too many people, and we hear too often about that rare bad apple in our department, and we don't hear enough about the bushels and bushels and bushels and bushels and bushels of good officers, many of whom are in this room right now, that serve us every day. What wisdom can I give on such an important day? I'm going to share a few reflections upon the pervasive public cynicism that I see too often in American society today. The feeling that our social problems are so severe that we may as well hunker down in our own isolated bunkers. That crime, fraud, immoral behavior, racism, political and corporate corruption are so rampant that there's nothing we can do about it. How many of us have heard someone in our profession wearily whine about how much harder it is to do their job today, or bemoan about the next generation, or point fingers at someone else when they see a problem? How many of us have looked at a young person in trouble whose eyes have been dulled by drugs and hardened by hopelessness and thought, I'm glad I'm not one of them? How many of us have felt frustrated, depressed, and powerless to handle the challenges in our own professions, not to mention the broader community? There will be times when we all feel that. Police officers especially are faced with these problems, and we can look to them and how they face them, because day after day, they choose to serve us and protect us at their own peril. When we see the problems, we have a choice to make. We can wallow in the cynicism, or we can revel in the evidence that in the midst of these societal problems, there are unlimited examples of generosity, courage, and grace to give us hope. That banner there and the banner there contain the names of those who gave the ultimate courage, generosity, and grace for their communities. The officers we honor can be looked to for these examples. Every case that these officers deal with, including the active ones, every tragedy takes a little bit more out of them, and that yet they go forward each day to serve us again. Let me illustrate some other examples from personal experience as a judge and before that as a prosecutor that should give us hope. For years, I've confronted the horrors of child abuse, but I've also been blessed to witness the incredible courage of children telling the secret and even risking the pain of testifying and even risking a not guilty verdict. Our police officers have seen the same, courageous victims, supported them, protected them, and been heartened by their courage and by their contact with these people. I've seen the devastation that chemical addiction can wreak. I have also seen the pride and joy in the face of a recovered addict. Let's not forget that part of it. I've seen wealthy business people try to get out of jury duty. I have also seen new citizens making a minimum wage swell with pride at the opportunity to do their duty as a juror. Let us not forget these examples. I saw the horrible hole of the World Trade Center. I also had the privilege of volunteering in New York at the September 11th Victim Center way back then. Less than a month after the attack, the courage of the victims and the compassion of the volunteers were overwhelming. I'll never forget one day when a couple of young teenagers with pants hanging down looking like a couple of gangbangers came in and said, can I help you? I said, what can we do? We just want to help. We want to help something. We want to do something right. I urge you to look to the positive, to relish it, to talk about it. There is too much woe are we in the media and in the coffee shops. Too much emphasis on humanity's capacity for evil and not enough emphasis on people's enormous capacity for good. Again today, we can see the examples in these officers who gave that ultimate sacrifice. We need to nurture our own capacity to do good. We all have it. We can look to the officers we honor today for that capacity to do good. They became police officers to serve and protect all of us. They died trying to do that. Most of us here knew some of these men. I looked at the plaque there, and the last four I knew. Mike O'Brien, Ron Ryan, Tim Jones, Jerry Vick. Jerry, I didn't know really well personally, but I tried the case. And I came to know him and his courage in the weeks of that trial. Their day-to-day dedication to the care of this community was enormous. We must honor them not only for the circumstances of their deaths, but also the goodness of their lives. We must not let discouragement and cynicism get us down. Like them, we must continue to let our light shine. When we do our jobs with justice and strength, and kindness, when we say thank you to the hundreds of good apples, of good cops, the bushels and bushels and bushels of them in our community, then we truly honor our fallen officers. Thank you again for the honor.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, wreaths will be presented to honor our department's heroes who paid the ultimate price for our safety and security. Please stand if you are able. First wreath donation will be donated by the St. Paul Police Federation and will be presented by Commander Jim Falkowski and President of the Federation, Officer Dave Titus. Wreath donated by the St. Paul Retirement Association is being presented today by retired Sergeant Dan Collins and retired Federation President Officer Brad Jacobson. Wreath donated by the St. Paul, wreath donated by the St. Paul Police Reserves, Mike Parkos and Mary Murphy. Wreath donated by the Explorers, E. Paul, Bobby Pahala, and Alex Chung. Wreath donated by St. Paul Police Chaplains was presented today by Tom Dizik and Kathleen Surez. Wreath donated by the St. Paul Police Foundation is being presented today by Nancy Haas and Kathy Beck. Chief Axtell will now read the roll call of the department's officers who have died in the line of duty. Today's bell ringer for the St. Paul Police Memorial Bell will be Officer Charles Smith, or Schmitty. He has served with our department for just shy of 33 years, and he is the most senior police officer in the city of St. Paul.
Daniel O. O'Connell.
Absent.
Hans Hansen. Thomas McCarrick. Charles Mayer. James W. Finn. Richard Cronin. Frank W. Frazier. Michael P. Sullivan. Hans G. Amo. Paul H. Godfrey. William W. McClintock. George R. Stegner. E. Earl Hackard. William F. Wilson. Frank Milanowski. Albert J. Kunin. John Schultz. Fred A. Peach. Calvert H. Leadham. Axel J. Soderberg. Matthew M. Weiss. Lawrence F. Tierney. Richard G. Hinshaw. Alan G. Lee. Alfred V. Sandquist. James T. Sackett, Sr. John H. Larson. John J. O'Brien. Ronald M. Ryan, Jr. Timothy J. Jones. Gerald D. Vick. Joshua P. Lionel.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like now to ask Chaplain McCorkle to give the benediction.
Lord God, we thank you for the privilege of gathering and remembering. We ask you now to send us home with a gift of believing in a dream, the same dream that these officers pursued, a dream of peace, a dream of respect, a dream of solidarity. Please, Lord, keep in our hearts a commitment to follow the example of those who gave their life, to labor in all our small ways, to heal divisions, to praise virtue, and to expect the best of each other. Guide us, Lord, by the gift of your Spirit. Strengthen us, Lord, with the confidence of your love, and make us all your good and holy people.
Thank you. In closing, we'd like to thank all of you for attending today's service, especially the officers from all other law enforcement agencies who helped today to honor us as we honor you. It is important to always remember our fallen officers and honor them for making the ultimate sacrifice. Let us remember also all of those who are serving our country in the military. I'd like to say a special thanks for those of you that helped me prepare for this memorial, including Sergeant Tony Nicola, Tina Curtis, Olivia Sculler, and Mary McDonald. I could not have done this without you. Please join us at the conclusion of this service for cake and refreshments. I now ask you to remain standing while we retire the colors. Sergeant Ernster, retire the colors.
Mark time. 1,